Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. New one is out this morning. Don't forget the Inside the Birds pregame show, 10 o'clock on YouTube Sunday. Jeff Mosher and this man, Adam Caplan. He is back for a Friday edition of Football at 4 here. Often imitated, never duplicated. There he is. Eagles-Raiders. Should be an interesting one. This Raiders team 4-2, new coach. They won for the new coach, Adam. The Eagles got a lot going on this week that has kind of been under the radar because of one Ben Simmons.
Yeah, no doubt. The Ben Simmons stuff, Mike, is really fascinating. How about Daryl Morey going on record in local Philly radio about really what's going on and that he's clearly not going to give him away, that he's only getting role players. I love it. You don't typically see, Mike, the general managers in sports ever go on the record talking about the guys on the trade block. I thought that was good. So, yeah, but here's the thing. You're getting back to the Eagles here. You've got a situation, and we know a lot of fans are going to go to the game. We had a bunch of fans chime in on our we have a Facebook board. We've got a YouTube message board and comment board, and it seems like there are going to be a lot of fans there. It would not shock me if there are at least 5,000 Eagle fans at this game. That's kind of where the Eagles are here with their fans. And they travel well. And there are a lot of people I know from Philly who live in L.A. that Vegas flight's about a half an hour. I've taken that flight from L.A. to Vegas.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll be more than 5,000, by the way. You remember that game? You remember that game out in L.A. when they played the Chargers? How many were out there?
How about Sirianni being asked about it today? Isn't that funny?
Right.
About the Charger game?
Yeah. Do you remember that game? I mean, yeah, they got buried.
Crazy. Yeah. In fact, the Eagles, I talked to them when they got back. They could not believe how loud it was, particularly when LeGarrette Blount had that long run.
Yeah. They're Miami. They seem to do very well, too. I think you'll see a lot of fans out there in Vegas, and they'll see a new offensive line again, but maybe for the better. Lane Johnson is back, which means now, Adam, 3 of their Week 1 starters are in the lineup. You got Jack Driscoll and Landon Dickerson at the guards. They did not start in Week 1, but you got your center and your 2 tackles back, and you wonder how much that changes the offense.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a good thing, Mike. So Lane Johnson, they just wanted to make sure everything was right with him. You know, it had basically been about 3 weeks since he had played, so they eased him in. They worked him back in, and he felt good. And, this is one thing that you got to understand is this head coach is big on connecting with players. And so what's important to him, as Sirianni was talking about, connecting with Johnson and making sure that they're both on the same page here, and they are. So he's back there. Mailata now moves from right tackle to left tackle. Also, he's not on the injury report anymore. That's good. He was not even listed with the knee, which we know is an MCL sprain. So that's a good sign. Driscoll continues to start at right guard. He started right tackle before, we know that. Landon Dickerson will remain at left guard where he's starting to get comfortable. Now, I would also tell you that, and we put this on our show several months ago, probably, July. We were told, do not pencil in Landon Dickerson to replace Jason Kelsey if Kelsey retires. They will decide, these coaches will, Jeff Stoutland chiefly among them, what they'll do with Isaac Seumalo next year. He's out for the season, but when he's back next year, Dickerson in terms of who lines up at center and who lines up at guard.
That's, definitely something definitely interesting to keep an eye on, because how would you say that Dickerson is handling the left guard spot?
Well, he's getting better. Look, it's not perfect. He's got his legs beneath him. It's just technique-wise, there's some challenges that he has to learn. They're not doing it the same way they did it at Alabama. They do it differently at the NFL level. In fact, Trey Thomas, I remember when Trey was on with us last year, Trey would explain that when it was on our pregame show, that the way that Jeff Stoutland teaches hand usage is different than most other teams do. So this is certainly a challenge for him, but he looks better each week. There's no question he's going to be a stud offensive lineman for the Eagles if he lines up at center or guard. It's just that because he's spent so much time in his career and he's learning what the stuff that he needs to learn as an NFL player, it takes time. You just don't walk in and become a star. I think sometimes there's unrealistic expectations, but there's no question he's going to be a really good player if healthy.
Adam Caplan, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. And Adam, I'm really interested in not only your answer to this, but to watch this on Sunday. How Dallas Goedert returning from the COVID list, how he will be incorporated in this offense. There is no Zach Ertz, who had 31 targets that could have gone, to Goedert. They split those targets up. Not really. Ertz had 31, Goedert only about 20. So they weren't splitting the targets up. I know Ertz missed the game, but now all these targets potentially go to Goedert, and how that opens up, changes. There's been a lot of talk about Goedert this week.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at it now, with Ertz gone, Goedert now takes over the job full time. He just came off the COVID list, just under 2 weeks on it. He didn't practice yesterday. He did have a pretty good workout with the training staff. So that he worked some today in their light practice. He doesn't even have an injury designation, so he'll be in the starting lineup. Jack Stoll right now will be the backup. They brought back, it's so funny, Richard Rodgers, right? So he gets cut after the Ertz trade, and now he comes back to, he's not replacing Ertz, but he's taking his roster spot in a way. He's on the practice squad, and I would assume it's hard to dress only 2 tight ends for a game, so I would assume that there's a pretty good chance he'll be activated by 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, which is the deadline for the game to add players to the roster. So, yeah, it's now Goedert's deal. There's no question about it. I'll never understand the underutilization of Goedert, even with Ertz there, because Goedert is a different player. He's physically tough, as we know. He had a touchdown called back some weeks ago where he scored when there was a penalty on the play, but he's just really good. He's, to me, a top 5 to top 7 talent. Now, I know he hasn't always played that way, but in terms of talent and plus the injury history, it's held him back. And that's part of why he's not gotten the contract that they wanted. But he is on the final year of his rookie contract. The rest of the season is here. And remember now, the Eagles have gotten calls about him. That's definitely true. I know that story that's out there from my friend Jay Glazer put that out from Fox. It's absolutely true. Because he hasn't got his extension. The word gets around the league. People wonder, what are the Eagles going to do with him? But assuming he's going to be here the rest of the season, he's here to showcase his talent to get a good big deal from the Eagles. And they drafted him, Mike, by the way, as a 3-down tight end. He absolutely needs to get a bigger role, and he will go for it.
Yeah, 14.4 yards a catch. And one thing, for as look, Ertz is probably the best tight end in the history of the franchise. He had the nickname No Yak Zach for a reason. Yeah. He catch the ball and didn't do much. Goedert he breaks tackles. He's got some explosion. You wonder, I don't want to say that he's better than, I think what Ertz did so well, he was so savvy. He found the holes in the coverage. He got himself open. But Goedert can be a bigger play tight end.
Yeah, and the thing about Goedert, he needs to be, and where Ertz is terrific, third down plays to get a first down, being dependable, hands. And you talked about it, finding holes in the defense, and particularly in zone defense. Yes, Zach would go down and would not get the extra yardage, which I know would annoy some people. Goedert is exceptional running after the catch. He had one of the all-time catches that got called back, remember, against Dallas, and that phantom push-off, the 75-yard catch and run for a touchdown, which clearly was not a push-off. That was a bad call by the rest, but that's some of the things he can do. So Goedert right now, going forward, he's going to be the guy. Jack Stoll, who's been a good story for them, just as a guy to show that he can play. And then, by the way, Tyree Jackson now is working. They're going to take this as far as they need to. Because remember, Tyree Jackson, though he's a great story, never played in a preseason game. And the only real practice time he had was in training camp. So they need to give him time to develop.
All right, a couple things here with Adam Caplan as we look at the Eagles and the Raiders. On the injury report, really the one name questionable, Anthony Harris. And number one, Harris is a new player, how he's fitting in on the defense. And if he could not play, what is the defense losing and how would they replace him?
Yeah, and look, he knows his defense because he was brought in here to help implement it with Jonathan Gannon, who knows him from their days with the Vikings. So it would be Marcus Epps, from what I understand, who would start for him if Harris can't go. Here's the troubling thing. So first of all, let's go back to last week's game, the Bucs game. So he gets hurt. He hurts one hand, comes back. If you're watching, his hand was wrapped. Okay, that's all we knew about one hand. So Wednesday's injury report, they list him with both hands being injured. And yesterday, though, he had a full practice. Today, he didn't practice today. And guess what? They added a groin injury to it, which means he must have gotten hurt in Thursday's practice. So now he's questionable. They don't know if he's going to be able to play. And again, Marcus Epps would be the likely fill-in. Epps is a good player. He's been a nice story for them. From what I understand, he's played well. So that certainly because of Darren Waller being on the other side. The Eagles typically do not cover the tight end well. They have their ups and downs against it. And by the way, speaking of covering tight ends, the Raiders are the worst in terms of giving up plays and also targets. Eagles give up 9.3 pass targets per game to tight ends. So Goedert should have a huge game, no question about it. And the Eagles will give up run after the catch against tight ends in that zone defense where the safeties play really far back. So in the intermediate area where the Eagles linebackers don't play particularly well, that's where I think Darren Waller's going to hurt them.
That's interesting. In one area, too, where on the defensive side of the ball, you look at the Eagles' defense, and the Raider offensive line is a weak spot for them. And we know when the Eagles have had success this year defensively, John Gannon's defense has had success, Adam. It's been Carolina, Atlanta, teams that do not have very strong offensive line. So this is an area where you think the Eagles could win that battle is up front with their defensive line.
Yeah, where the Eagles, Mike, should dominate, or at least they have a very good chance to dominate, would be in the interior. Cox and Hargrave versus the interior of the Raider offensive line, which is quite frankly not very good. They've got a first-time starter, John Simpson, the left guard. Center Andre James is not playing well. Right guard right now is Alex Leatherwood, who got moved in. He was playing at right tackle. He was their first-round pick, where a lot of people around the league thought they reached. So, yeah, this is a problem. This is not good. No, the Eagles really could dominate there. And we saw what happened when they have an advantage. You saw what happened against Carolina. They took advantage, and they absolutely dominated in the interior.
Yep, and they caused 3 turnovers in that game. And obviously, you're looking at Carr, and you're saying, hey, is this a guy who can turn the ball over? You look at Derek Carr against the Eagles secondary, Slay, Steven Nelson. Is Carr a guy that they can turn the ball over on?
He doesn't get a lot of turnovers, but when you pressure from the interior, like the Bears got him, he did not play well. So to me, it's for the Eagles to have a chance for a small upset. I can't believe the spread's only 3. They're going to have to get pressure from the interior. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I know people say a small upset here. That, like, before we kind of look at another matchup in this game, like the Eagles have won 2 games on the road. Is this a winnable road game for them?
It is, because here's the thing. Talking to the Raiders, I really believe that emotionally it's not going to be easy for them to get up for this game. It just would worry me if you're a Raider fan listening. It's just hard. First game without Gruden, they go on the road where they could bond a little bit in a divisional game. It was a huge game for them because, remember, they're trying to win the division now. They have a chance. Probably not going to do it, but they've got a chance. They're now tied for first place, and they had a dominant win from pillar to post. On the Eagles, what's going to happen here, they came out running with Josh Jacobs. And I talked to the Raiders. They felt it was Jacobs' best game this season. It wasn't a great game, but he did well enough. And they want to get Josh Jacobs going. The Eagles don't stop the run, giving 4.4 yards to running back. So could the Eagles upset him? Yeah, but Jalen Hurts hasn't played an exceptional game. We didn't talk about it. He's got to play great. There's no way he plays average and they win this game. He's going to have to play in a great game for them to win on the road here.
Well, let's look at that then. The Raiders play a lot of cover 3, much like the Eagles. They do not blitz a whole heck of a lot. So does that play into the hands of what Nick Sirianni wants to do?
Yeah, and Gus Bradley runs his cover 3. This is what he does. He comes in, he's done it forever. And they give up intermediate area throws, whether it's a slot receiver. Of course, Eagles don't really use a slot receiver. Or the tight end, Dallas Goedert. So I think there's an advantage there. It's too bad because the Raiders give up the most production to slot receivers in the National Football League. They give up a big catch rate to tight ends, 73%. As I said, most targeted, 9.3 a game. So Goedert should have a big game. The other thing that you can do against them, the Raiders linebackers are fast, but they're not physical. This could be a Miles Sanders game. I know I must say it every week. I want to not be wrong, but all I'm telling you, Mike, is the opportunity is there for Miles Sanders. I don't know. I don't trust Nick Sirianni as a play caller. He's done nothing to show me that I could trust him. But the opportunity is there for the matchup. And let's go Miles Sanders. And then, defensively, there's some questions, but I think there's an opportunity here for an upset. I do agree with you.
It's interesting you mentioned Miles Sanders because one thing, the Raiders have 2 very good pass rushers, but they don't stop the run very well. And this might be, Adam, a game where the RPO actually works to your favor.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have them to have a conventional running game. What they're going in the interior of the Raiders is, Mike, they go with 3 journeymen, sort of veteran D linemen, and then they stick in Solomon Thomas, sort of a hybrid DN, D tackle, but he's smaller. They got the 3 veterans there. So, yeah, there'll be an opportunity to run inside. And the Eagles, they had some problems with Vita Vea in this last week game. They gave it some interior pressure, but they don't have any. The Raiders don't have anyone who's stout as Vea on the D line, and I do believe there's an opportunity there. I look, Sirianni's got to put the figure on himself. Yeah, Hurts is not playing well. No one's going to deny that, but help the quarterback out. Just mix in the run. I don't believe in establishing the run. I think that's nonsense. But you can integrate the run game. See what the Bucs do? They mix it in. It's not what they do, but it's part of what they do, and that's why even Tom Brady could use a run game.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think anybody in this day and age is saying 50-50, but give me,
But
right.
in the first half, this is all I'm saying. If you want to do it 66% of it, if you want to go 2/3, fine. But every 3 passes, sneak a run game and run it. Is it that hard? Really?
So far, yeah, it has been that hard for Nick Sirianni.
Yeah. You're right. I know.
Right? I mean, it has been.
Frustrating as hell.
I'll tell you.
And I'm not even a fan, just as an observer who gathers information on this team. I scratch my head. Even Joe Banner probably doesn't like this.
Shane Steichen this week, he kind of hinted at they want to they want to get Goedert more involved. They want to run the ball more.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you had mentioned, I'm surprised that they didn't bring in a more veteran play caller. Not that not that Steichen's a veteran play caller, but are the assistants on that team saying, hey, Nick, you might need to reevaluate the play calling a little bit here?
I mean, they're talking every day. It's just that something seems to happen on game day. It gets away from Sirianni, and I don't buy the excuse. Yes, in some games they're getting smoked. In the Bucs game, they're down 28-7. But on the first couple series, yeah, you're. It doesn't mean when the score is not out of hand you can't run it. It's just, there's nothing in Sirianni's background, Mike, that says that he wouldn't want to run the ball. That's why I'm so puzzled. Did he feel pressure when he got the job because of analytics and what he was told during his interview that he probably should be throwing the ball out? I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love to have an answer. Where they made a mistake is they didn't hire a senior offensive assistant to get in his ear. That's getting to your question. That's what we suggested. We were told it was discussed, but nothing ever happened. So, oh well.
All right, last thing, take a look at the wide receivers. Devonta Smith, obviously Rieger, and Quez Watkins has been kind of an up and down guy. He's got big play there, but Smith, how he factors into the game this week.
Yeah,
we were talking to the Raiders radio side, and they said their secondary has been a mess.
Well, actually, what's interesting about this, the Raiders is their secondary does not give up a lot. In fact, Casey Hayward's played really well. He's kind of revived his career under Gus Bradley. What they do, as I was saying, the Raiders give up a ton of production in the slot. They're the worst team in covering inside receivers. The Eagles don't really have a true slot. They don't really get Greg Goedert involved. The problem that you have is in this game with Jalen Hurts, and we've said this repeatedly, he throws to the right side too much. It's very obvious when you watch the game. Watch him. He rarely will throw to the left, which means he doesn't go through his progressions correctly all the time. It's become very obvious. He's not spreading the ball around because it's like 1.5 read to run, or he holds on the ball or throws it out of bounds. He's just not. That's why he seems to be lost a little bit lately. The Raider safeties don't cover very well. The Raiders are down 2 corners in this game. Both are on injured reserve. So there's going to be some opportunities to get it if they protect and Hurts reads the defense well and gets rid of it on time. The Eagles could score well over 20. I'm just not sure if I trust a lot of the things that be going on offense.
All right, this should be after 6 games, you had 3 defensive stinkers and 3 solid defensive efforts. This will be kind of like, hey, show me what you're doing here. Which direction? Yeah. I'm interested in that. Last one for you. They had 10 days off here. It's kind of a mini bye, the whole self-scouting. Do you anticipate we see any changes personnel-wise, anything like that?
Yes, they probably will. We'll have something on our show. We'll put some stuff out on Sunday. Yeah, this is why I look at this stuff, because you're seeing a lot now with the teams got off to bad starts. it might be cosmetic in terms of coverage. It might be personnel changes. We served, by the way, earlier with Eric Wilson, who bench is sometimes a hard word, but where they make a lineup change, where they reduce a guy's playing time. Yeah, I would expect some small changes, whether it's offense or defense. I definitely will expect something different that we haven't seen before, to answer your question.
All right, maybe more Davion Taylor, maybe a little bit more Milton Williams. Check out the Inside the Birds podcast. It is available now on all podcast platforms. And the Inside the Birds pregame show, Sunday morning at 10 on the YouTube social media platforms of Inside the Birds. He is Adam Caplan. This is Football at 4. Thank you, Adam.
All right, man. Thank you.
He is back next Friday, InsideTheBirds.com.